Okay, folks, it's 3 o'clock and I'm about ready to get started. I hope those of you who need to be here are here. Those of you who need to be here and aren't here, I hope you'll show up. Um, but I'm Randy Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services. And today's webinar, the title is the Family Estate Docs Code of Ethics. And it's a pretty serious topic. Um, I just want us to be aware that I have been notified by email several times in the month of May that attorneys were giving some of our licensees a hard time about practicing law. Folks, if you do this right, you're not practicing law. I'm going to explain it to you again here in a little bit, but I think if you follow our code of ethics, you won't ever get attacked anymore. And then if they attack you, honestly, if someone attacks you, I just want you to say, look at them and go, well, why don't you just send me a letter and tell me what it is I've done, and I'll address that issue after you put it in writing. And what happens as soon as you say that, those guys go away because they know that they can threaten you, but they have no basis unless you don't follow the rules. So we're going to talk about that here in a second. So our topic today, Family Estate Docs Code of Ethics. You know, what I'm going to be covering today, it's important to understand that as a group, we have to have a code of ethics. And right now there's about 150 of us across the country. We added 10 new agents last month. I got a phone call yesterday that told me that the agent, the licensee, had no clue on what he was doing, and he'd been with me for a year. And so and I looked back and saw that he had not been attending classes, and I had no record of him going to the website. And he was confused and all disturbed because he hadn't been doing his homework. So you guys that are doing your homework and things like that, you're not causing any problems. You're writing business. So, I'm just going to tell you, you're a better advisor if you follow what you're going to learn today. You'll be a better advisor. So, it helps to understand the true purpose and function of Family Estate Docs software in the estate planning process. And I think some people are a little unclear about that. So it's important that we understand the true purpose and function of the Family Estate Docs estate planning process. The Code of Ethics is a guide of principles designed to help professionals conduct business honestly and with integrity. And I've had a couple of licensees this year that have not performed honestly or with integrity. And I hate to do it, but I can't have those type of licensees in this organization. So we're going to identify that here in a little bit. But a code of ethics document may outline the mission and values of the business or organization. Well, it's going to. So, but a code of ethics explains how professionals are supposed to approach problems. The ethical principles based on the organization's core value are our code of ethics. And we just need to be honest with people, and we need to tell them what it is we do and how we're going to help them. So the standards in the code of ethics, the standards to which the professional is held. I'm held to these principles. And I'm going to have to just say that I have to hold you responsible too. I can't have you out doing things incorrectly. And when I find out that things are being done incorrectly, I have to say, is this person attending classes? Is this person writing business? If this person's a problem, it's economical for me to not let that person be around. And I will tell you, I do have that authority. I'm not going to do anything like that right now, but I can't tolerate people not following the rules. So a code of ethics sets out an organization's ethical guides and best practices to follow for honesty, integrity, and professionalism. And you know what? I can't throw the first stone. I've made mistakes in my career. I've made mistakes with my software. You're going to make mistakes. When you make a mistake, just fix it. Just go in and say, you know what? I made a mistake there. Let me fix it. So our code of ethics all starts with our primary promise. And I did a whole class on the primary promise. But the primary promise that we make should be the promise that you make in your initial approach. And folks, if you're not making this initial approach, I hope you're making money, but I don't think you are. The family estate docs, we only teach you one approach, one. And if you deviate from that, you're not following our code of ethics. And you're also not following the good, sound principles of business behavior. And your income is probably lower than our average licensee. So this is our primary promise. And most of you can shut your eyes and say it over and over and over. I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. That's it. I'm going to call a good friend of mine this afternoon. That's exactly what I'm going to say to him, because I learned that yesterday he got a phone call that made him cry, a grown man, and his daughter said something to him that just broke his heart. And she told him that she wished things about him that he would never want his daughter to say to him. And I understand how hurt he is. So when I call him, I'm going to say, hey, I think you'd benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. Would you agree? And I know what he's going to say. He's going to say, yeah, I need to do this. So that's a relationship change. So anyway, if you stick to the primary promise, that's right. Raise your hands and say you're going to do it. That's what I put those hands up there. Everybody ought to raise your hand. But if you're sticking to the primary promise is the key to success and the key to our code of ethics. I hope everybody's got your hands. Raise your hand, Ed. There you go. All right. So anyway, it sets the stage for conversion of the suspect to the prospect, and as well as establishing the basis for a long-term relationship leading to the front-end sale, the back-end sale, and all future sales. But the only way you get there is you maintain persistent ethical behavior, and you give people advice that fits their situation, not yours, theirs. So, if you offer your approach with sincerity and patience, I guarantee you, not you, but that's just where I'm from. When offered with sincerity and patience, you have a prospect who is willing to talk with you on a favorable basis. And if they do that, their expectations are very, very high of you. And you need to maintain that high expectation, because you're representing every licensees in the nation every time you do that. So members of an organization violating the code of ethics can result in sanctions, including termination. Here's an example. If you sell a trust, don't ignore the person anymore. Help them finish the job. Because the first thing they'll do if you ignore them is they'll go talk to an attorney. And they'll cause you to get a refund request. Okay, so I'm going to give you a list of the things that I'm having to deal with right now. That out of 150 people, there's not many, but these are things that are going on that it's because people are not doing what they're supposed to do. So this will include misrepresenting your role in the process. Never say you're an attorney. Never act like an attorney. Never answer given legal advice. Answer what's in the software. You got a little blue ball there with a question mark on it. Number 2 is adding wording to the documents that create a representation of practicing law. You don't have to add any words to these documents. They're already there. This is attorney-written software, and the software gives you the choice of answers. It doesn't say fill in the blank. And most of the time, if you fill in the blank, it'll kick it out anyway. The software is that smart. But if you write something in on a blank spot, you're practicing law, buddy. Stop. But anyway, not being responsive to client questions, not completing the delivery process. I teach you the Godiva delivery. If you go in and use the binders and the printed on good paper and deliver this, don't the software says that the client is responsible for printing and notarizing and witnessing. What I'm telling you is don't do that. if you want the back end sale, go in and hold their hand and get them through the process and give them a real nice binder to put it in. That binder might cost you $30, but I think my written business this week may well be close to $40,000. And it's because I do it. I do a good dive of delivery. I do a first class delivery. And the sale that I know I'm going to make, that I'm going to knock on wood, but it is not an immediate back end sale. It's a future sale on a trust that I made the same recommendation 2 years ago, and now the event has occurred, and they would have had 2 years into the income plan, but now they got to start right now. And that changed the product. Went from American Equity over to Ameritas because the Ameritas contract pays income after the first 30 days. If they had done it 2 years ago, their American Equity contract or their F&G contract or their Lincoln Financial contract would have served the year that they needed to wait. So the next thing, though, is number 5. You're not following your code of ethics if you're not coaching the funding process. And that's why you're here, isn't it? To get through the funding process. So your code of ethics should be, I'm going to help you get through the front end sale so that I can help you go through the back end sale, and I'm going to help you get off future sales. Your clients expect that from you. Okay, they actually do expect that from you. So this means you must read and understand the 2 end user agreements stated in your software license. I talked to a gentleman yesterday, and it's pretty obvious to me he had never read the end user agreements, because the answers he was giving me from the questions I was asking told me he had not read them. And if you have not read them, I'm probably going to send an email to all the licensees out there, and I'm going to say, have you read the end user agreement, yes or no, so that any liability will be taken off of me and put on you. Because I'm supposed to know that you read your end user agreements, and every time you sell an estate plan, it pops up. Do you agree to the terms of the end user agreement? Nobody wants to read it, and most people won't read it, but they're checking it off, saying that they did read it. And it's going to help if you review those things with them. They're going to appreciate it. It's not going to cost you to sell. It's going to solidify it. So when you purchase the license, and when you purchase the Family Estate Docs license, you agreed to these rules and accepted responsibility for breaking these rules. I need to put an S on the end of there because it's more than one rule. But you accepted responsibility. So if you don't do it, the burden is on you. It's just most of the time I have to go in and clean it up. And it's not pretty, but I'm pretty good at cleaning it up, and I make sure the client gets exactly what they thought they wanted. And sometimes the licensee no longer has a license. So if you look at Article 2 of your end user agreement, it talks about ownership and use. What we agree to at Family Estate Docs and Estate Docs Pro, we grant you a license. It's not a product, it's a license. Subject to the terms and conditions of this license, Estate Docs Pro and Family Estate Docs, because we use their platform, hereby grants to you, and you hereby accept, a non-exclusive, non-transferable, and revocable license to access the online software. I don't know if you remember it or not, but when you bought your license, it gave you a list what industry you were in, and people call me all the time, well, it doesn't say insurance. It doesn't say insurance. And I said, that's right. Click on software, because that's what you're doing, is representing software. The software is licensed, not sold, to you for use only under the terms of this license. So, if you're out not doing what the terms of your license says, that's malpractice. That may be even practicing law. But I understand it, and I follow those rules, and you should too, or else you're going to get a little trouble. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it could get you in trouble because you don't follow the rules of the license that you purchased. If you follow the rules, I promise you'll have big incomes. So there are some permitted uses. and you need to get this straight, all of you. You agree that you will use the software solely for the purpose of enabling each of your customer or clients to whom you have sold a Family Estate Docs or Estate Docs Pro do-it-yourself estate planning legal form. I want to repeat that. A do-it-yourself estate planning legal form to have access to such form via the software available on the Estate Docs Pro or Family Estate Docs internet-based technology web portal. So what people are buying from you is not your expertise in estate planning. What they're buying from you is a license to use the software, and they want you to coach them through it. That's where you bond with your client. You're an advisor and a coach. You're not writing the document. You're not creating the document. You're help making sure that they understand the questions, and each one of those questions has a blue ball and a question mark on it. And if you don't understand the question, click on that blue ball and that question mark, and the answer appears. Read it. Don't be off the cuff. Read it to the client. You also agree that accessing information and documentation relating to the software is what you're selling. Access to information and documentation. You're also accessing and permitting your customers, clients to access Family Estate Docs, Estate Docs Pros, estate planning legal forms that you purchased the license to. You're saying, I own the license to help you get this done. You're not saying you're an attorney. You're saying this is a self-help, self-done, do-it-yourself software program that when you're finished with it, you'll have your estate plan completely finished and it'll be attorney written. And I'll be glad to help you with your answers. But all we have to do is just answer the answers that they give us and pick one. So you're not giving legal advice. You're just saying, do you understand this sentence? Yes. Do you understand this sentence? Yes. Which one of these sentences do you choose? And they'll tell you. So the fourth thing is accessing and permitting your customer clients to access information and documentation relating to Estate Docs Pros, estate planning legal for that you purchase. So all you're saying is I'm going to give you a login, I'm going to give you a password, and then you can access these documents, and you get a license on a retail level to access and use these documents and change them and print them off. And you own that license for the rest of your life. And so you don't ever have to pay an attorney. Well, it also allows you to create, and permitting your customer client to help you sell the product, to create only one legal document for every one product that you purchase. However, you're able to make corrections in the event of a mistake. This allows you to do one estate plan. When somebody called me the other day and said, well, we're just marking out the names and writing in the new names and marking out the answers and putting in new answers, I wanted to say, well, that's not right. That's not correct. That's not ethical. That's not, because they just wanted to buy the plan one time and they wanted to sell it to 5 or 6 different people. Well, that's illegal. So you shouldn't do something like that. Why would you do something like that? But it does allow you to make copies and permit your customer client to whom you sell the product to make copies for personal use only, not for reproduction of that one legal document, which is that estate plan that may be created for every one product that you purchase. So if you want to share it with a friend, tell your friend to buy the second one themselves. And then the next thing is you're allowed to provide copies to other people, permitting your customer client to whom you sell the product to provide copies to other people. That means that when they fill it out and get it signed and notarized, they can send it to the hospital. They can send it to the probate court if they want to. They can send it to wherever they want to. They have the right to transfer those documents after they complete them, but it's for personal use only. The one legal document created for every one product that is purchased. Not one for you and one for your sister and one for your brother. It's just one for you. So number 8, for no other uses or reasons whatsoever. The permitted uses described in this paragraph 2.2 are collectively referred to in this license as the permitted uses. if you follow the permitted uses, you're also following our code of ethics. So, so, and we've done this, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but your end user client agrees to the same thing. So what I just described to you was the wholesale end user license agreement. The retail end user agreement agrees to the same thing, just from the different direction. They're saying, yes, I agree to all those things, and they check that box when they buy that trust. So, as the licensee, you must be clear in your role. If not, you're going to get attacked by an attorney. And if you make it clear what your role is, that attorney has nothing to stand on. You're representing a software service that allows the prospect client to implement and develop their personal estate plan. Now, do I help my clients fill it out? Absolutely. Do I answer the questions? No. I make sure they understand the question, and then I let them pick the options that are given. And sometimes if the option's not given, it's time to go to an attorney. You all know that we have Courtney Schollard on staff here to answer questions. We have Frank Divers nationally. We did an amendment earlier this week or last week on a case that really actually needed an amendment, and we saw to it that it got done. We didn't do it. We just facilitated the fact that it got done, and we paid the appropriate person to do that work. That's what you're doing. So this is it right now. The world of opinion is entirely different now than it was in the pre-digital age. When you get attacked by an attorney, they're attacking you from the past, but not in the pre-digital. They're attacking you from the pre-digital age. It is an accepted fact that anyone can do their own estate plan without an attorney. As long as our agent doesn't misrepresent themselves and follows our process, you are okay. If you misrepresent yourself, you can't say you're an attorney, and you can't manufacture the document. If you're using our software, you're not manufacturing the document. You're coaching the client on the answers, but only the answers the attorneys put in the software for you. And it's okay for you to say, well, which one of these do you think is most appropriate? And you got to remember, that's what the client wants. They want you to help. They want you to guide them. They want you to advise them. So as a licensee, if properly licensed, you have the opportunity to discuss the end user's understanding of the documents and have been provided the proper videos to do so. If you're licensed in the insurance world and you don't know the beneficiary arrangements and what that means, if you don't understand how trusts work and estate plans work, you've already passed the test in your state that says you know. So all you're doing is transferring information and things that you know. And if you don't know it, it's okay to Google it. So you have the opportunity to help the client properly fund their current or new estate plan. They want you to help them properly fund their current or new estate plan. You convinced them of that when you said the primary promise, I think you might benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. You didn't say you were going to write the plan for them. You didn't say you were going to create the document. You just said you're probably going to benefit from a conversation with me about your current plan. That's all you said. Say it. It's okay. So the proper installation of you get the opportunity to talk about the proper installation of the real estate into the trust as a profit center. Many of you use, and some of you are letting your client down by not properly implementing the quitclaim deeds. It's also a different profit center. And we're successfully charging up to $350 for this service per deed, and it usually has a profit of between $150 and $200 each. So if you run into somebody with 6 deeds, you're going to make another $1,200 on top of the money that you make selling the estate plan. So you have the opportunity to discuss the long-term care plans of those involved. Now, I'm going to do another boot camp in Minnesota in July, and I hope you'll come because we're going to talk about the different products that are used to discuss the long-term care plans of those people involved. And one of the other things in the primary promise that I tell you about is hey, I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan because you might learn something in which you were not aware. And sometimes I had a guy up in Lynchburg, Virginia, that told me that he didn't have long-term care and he'd married a rich wife, and if she wanted to take care of him, she could, but if she didn't, and he just didn't need it. I wanted to challenge him, but I didn't. But anyway, you have the opportunity to discuss the long-term care plans of the trustors involved. And if you plant the seed the way I ask you to do it, in the second interview, that seed's going to turn into a beautiful little flower, and they're going to want to have that discussion, and you're going to show them their numbers after you find out who's closer to the cliff. So, the opportunity to discuss income tied to assets and not tied to assets, you have earned that right. And part of the code of ethics is, what if you don't? What if you don't talk to them about that? Well, first thing, you've let them down. Second thing, somebody else is going to. And if you want to make your living just making the $1,200 commission on a $1,995 sale, that's fine. Let me teach you how to do a bunch of them. But we got to be sure that somebody gets involved in the funding process of the product that you sell. So, you also get the opportunity to discuss gaps and cliffs in your new client's income plan. And if you do it with sincerity and honesty, ethically, they will help you come up with those numbers. They may even be surprised by the number. And they may realize that they're not positioned correctly with their assets to take care of the problem. I have 2 appointments like that this week. I may have 2 more money days this week, or maybe next week. But have I ever talked to you about a money day? Money day is when you've got everything lined up and the people are coming in to purchase the product or service that you offer. And they're going to purchase it because you've been honest with them and you've helped them and they've had their pillow talk and they're coming in to buy. Those are usually really nice money days. So, you have the opportunity to discuss sure things and maybes in their current plan. And if those sure things and maybes, the sure things and maybes are appropriate with their current health conditions and risk horizons. Well, if you just walk up and say, hey, I want to talk to you, and maybe we might find some maybes and sure things that are appropriate with your current health conditions and risk horizons, most of them are going to let you look at you and they're going to go, huh? But if you do this correctly and guide them through a conversation they want to have with you ethically and responsibly, when you say this statement to them, it's going to go ka-ching, 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 because they're going to buy from you because they may understand that their current plan is a maybe and they want the sure thing option and they want to look at your numbers. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't bother me a bit if somebody says they don't want to look at the numbers. It doesn't bother me one bit because I know the next person's probably going to want to see the numbers. So you can't make a sale every time. I can't even make a sale every time. My mentors don't make a sale every time. We just make a sale every time it's appropriate. And if you put yourself in a position to be in an appropriate situation as many times as possible in any given month, you're going to make a lot of nice sales. And if you be ethical and follow the code of ethics that I'm showing you and do the things that I'm trying to teach you, that is what will happen. You have the opportunity to point out to the clients the risk of the potential cliffs to each trustor. If you develop it correctly, you have the opportunity. The door is wide open to point out to the clients the risk of the potential cliffs to each trustor. Some of you are Social Security experts. Some of you are life insurance experts. You know, these problems can be satisfied in many, many different ways. I got a phone call today. No, I called them at 10. They called me yesterday and they wanted to make an appointment because they had some big term policies that they wanted to close the cliffs on by converting over to permanent life insurance. And that's a good way to close a cliff. I don't know what the premium's going to be, but it's going to be big because the policies are big and they're old. And they don't have to prove insurability because they're going to do conversions. I didn't even know they had them until I did the confidential page 3 and asked them about their life insurance. And they didn't buy it immediately. That interview was in January or February. Here it is June, but it took a little bit of pillow talk, and they just picked up the phone and they said, "Randy, we want to do this. We're ready." So if you can create the need or the environment for pillow talk, and it's just like planting a seed in your garden. If you don't starve to death watching your corn grow, you're going to be fine. You won't starve to death watching your corn grow if you'll build your momentum slowly and use the process that I'm trying to teach you and use your code of ethics. This is what I'm going to do. So after the primary promise that I've given you, I've tried to tell you that, then I give you all the unique mechanisms that you need to lead you to the front end and the back end sale. And if you don't understand primary promise and unique mechanisms, there's nothing more unique than the Family Estate Docs software and the Family Tree Asset Positioning sales presentation with all the add-ons that come with it. So this is a list of your unique mechanisms. You ever seen them before? I think so. You ever used them before? I don't know. But the first unique mechanism is the Family Estate Doc software. The second is the agenda. The third is the confidential. The next is the sales script. And the next are the power phrases. And I left off the most important one, the Family Tree Asset Positioning go-to drawings. Those are so unique, and people look at them, and I'll be honest with you, people say, "Hey, I use those all the time." And I say, "You make any sales?" And they go, "No." I say, "Well, you're doing it wrong. Let's show you how to do it right again." So, real quick, I just want to review the retail end user agreement. This is what you're selling. You need to be aware of what you are selling. You have a responsibility to help your client understand. The end user agreement is called the EULA, end user agreement. Okay. A legal agreement between the purchaser and Family Estate Docs for the use of cloud-based software applications. That's what you're selling. That's what people are buying. So, by using the product, you agree to be bound by its terms. And you check off a little box for that. The software is self-help software. You need to let people know that this is what this is what you're helping them get. Is self-help software, enabling the client to use do-it-yourself products. And you're going to advise and coach and fund FUND. The issue is how involved should you be in the process? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, some of you are very involved in the process and you're writing $1 million or $2 million a month. And some of you are not very involved in the process because you can't set yourself in the right mindset to do it right. And that's not my problem. That's your problem. I'm showing you exactly how to do it. So the software is updated occasionally. It's important that the client information be kept up to date. We call that an annual review. Sometimes when you go in and do an annual review, you're going to find out that mom has developed a breast cancer or some kind of cancer or some kind of health problem, or dad has had a minor heart attack and a stroke. I get so many men, I'll say, "How's your health?" "It's great. I had a little heart attack a couple of weeks ago." Men just don't accept it. So So, the end user is granted a license to use the software. That's why we give them a login and a password. We didn't sell them the product. We granted them a license to use the software as many times as they want to, without any additional fees except for that storage fee. The Family Estate Docs licensee awards the user access as a single user. You are allowing the retail person, you are awarding them, after they pay their fee, user access as a single user. Not to mark out the names and do it for all 13 people in their family. It's the licensee who has the responsibility of communicating with the end user. It's your job to see to it that they get what they want, and that when they need help, you're there to help them. That is what allows you to have access on the back end funding sale. I had one that was so much trouble. They didn't want to fund anything. Dad had Alzheimer's and wouldn't admit it. She had $1 million life insurance policy with a big lien against the policy on on an assessment from a bank. And she sold the business, and there was no life insurance agent around to help her undo all that. So I offered to help her undo it, and it took about 2 hours in the office, and that's what led to the $600,000 sale Thursday afternoon, because she realized that her IRA was full of maybes, and that she needed to have a sure thing to pay for her husband's care because he has Alzheimer's, and she's putting him away Saturday, but she's going to tell him tomorrow, and I'm glad I'm not going to be there. But she needs $6,000 a month income, guaranteed, without risk to her principal. And the stockbroker was a little bit upset with me, and I said, well, don't worry about it. You can keep the rest of it. And so he got away with it. He thinks he's keeping $1 million. What I'm actually doing is I'm picking up 600,000, and I know that there's $1 million non-qualified life insurance policy there that's probably going to kick in soon. Don't know when, because Alzheimer's kills some people in 1 year. Sometimes it kills people in 6 or 8 years. But she knows to keep that term policy in effect, because it's got about 15 more years on it. So he's going to die before that, and she's going to get $1 million for a very low premium. I bet I get some of it. But anyway, the end user agrees to use the self-help software to access the do-it-yourself estate planning legal forms. That's what you're selling. If you're selling anything else, you may be practicing law. But you're creating one legal document. That's about my 4th or 5th misspelled word, but it was early this morning. Creating one legal document for each product you select. Corrections are allowed at any time. Now, a correction, it could be a misspelled word, but it also could be a change in trustees. It could be a change in relationships. It can be a change in health. It could be a change in assets. Somebody told me today that somebody just didn't have any children, so they gave their friend $3.5 million because they died a couple of weeks ago. So, your end user permission is granted for personal use and not commercial use. Don't buy this. Don't sell this to somebody who's going to turn around and mark out the names with whiteout and write in other people's names and charge fee. If you know they're going to do it, let me know. He's hurting all of us. The end user agrees not to copy the documents for the use of others. The end user understands the software is not a law firm. You are representing yourself and are free to consult with an attorney. If you buy the Family Estate Docs, you are representing yourself. And the software says you're free to contact an attorney if you want to. Most people don't need to. They understand what they're doing, and they don't want to pay the attorney those exorbitant fees every time they go in for a consultation. So the end user agrees to be responsible for selecting and preparing the documents, and may seek their own counsel and advisors. But they won't do it. They will let you help them, and you're using attorney-written software. Get it straight. Say it right. Write a lot. Make some money. So the end user agrees to select the appropriate forms, to provide proper spelling and grammar, to obtain proper advice, to be sure wording is correct, to apply the law to their own circumstances. And if they're not lawyers, and if that blue button with the question mark on it doesn't answer it, give me a call. Courtney will talk to you. Frank Divers will talk to you. We'll help you through that. And if you have to have an amendment, we'll see to it that it gets done. And I had a licensee tell me today the case that he worked on was too complicated and that they wanted to be sure an attorney wrote it. So he took it over to Courtney. And that's okay. No product is going to match everybody. So you need to understand that these documents don't give financial, tax, or estate planning advice. None of it's provided, and that if you need that, you should seek your own counsel. Well, my gosh, you're licensed to answer those questions, so you are their counsel. That's not law. That you're just talking about financial products, and you understand what the tax and estate planning consequences are. Talk to them. You're licensed to do that. Let me tell you something we do at Family Estate Docs. We guarantee that the document propriety is good for each state with attorney written documents applicable to those individual states. That doesn't mean we're giving legal advice. That means that our document is proprietary, guaranteed in each state that you want to set it up in. There's no guarantee the products will apply to your situation. That's why you draw the family tree. That's why you want to know about their long-term care and about their income and about their health situation, and why you want to do a ballpark inventory of their assets. That helps you determine whether what you're doing is appropriate. Future updates aren't guaranteed. The only way they're going to find out about a future update is if you go in and service their account and review their estate plan with them once a year, because their lives can change. So it's to your advantage to do annual reviews. In many cases, you'll find relationships change. I misspelled changes. How about that? In many cases, you will find relationship changes, asset changes, and health changes. I misspelled it twice, but I did spell it right once. But those things are going to happen. And it's my responsibility to see to it that spelling is correct. Sometimes it's just early in the morning. I'm trying to get something done. But anyway, everything that I've talked to you about will lead back to the back end and the future sale. Everything that you do that's ethical, to your code of ethics, to your end user agreements, to helping them fill out the documents, to answering the questions by hitting the blue ball with the question mark on it. And if you need to research something, Google it. If you need to answer a question about finances, most of you are life insurance licensed, and you pass the state rules. You're qualified. And by the way, is that not why you're doing this? Are you actually selling estate plans because of the profit in the estate plan? Or are you selling estate plans because it leads you to the back end sale? Just be honest with yourself. I think it's because it leads you to the back end sale. And if it doesn't, why are you here? What are you doing? So you get Vault Access is guaranteed for 1 year, and there's an annual subscription, requires about $30. You want to keep it that way. We store ours on Dropbox anyway. We also store it for the client. And you know what? They'll pay you $75 to store it for them. So changes to wording are not allowed in these estate plans. Don't do it. Restatements are allowed. Amendments must be done by attorneys. Restatements don't have to be done by attorneys. I can answer questions on that if you want to. But, the end user is responsible for printing and shipping. That's a mistake, but it's true. If someone lets you build their estate plan and you don't deliver it in a nice binder and review it with them, well, call me, I'll go do it. Probably write some business. And it's called the Godiva delivery. We've talked about the Godiva delivery all the time. If it's used properly, it enhances your personal value and prestige to the client. Wrap it up, put it in a nice book, deliver it. I personally like to present it like it's a gift. And it costs about $75 to do. I take that out of the $1,200 I make on a retail sale. Some people even charge extra for it. And that's okay too. It just depends on how you want to do business. You just remember, the end user agrees purchase is for their personal use and not for resale. You're doing it for them. They're doing it for themselves. Software is protected by law. It's copywritten material. And Family Estate Docs retains all rights, as does Estate Docs Pro, because we're using their platform. So if you're copying stuff like that, why in the world do you think that it would be profitable for you to go in and mark out those names with whiteout and type in new names and then sell it to somebody? I sort of want to think there's two idiots involved. Don't do it. You also agree to arbitration, binding arbitration on the software, not in a courtroom. Written notice of dispute required, governed by the Federal Arbitration Act of Arizona. It has to be somewhere. Why not where the software's based? So, my company and Estate Docs Pro, we accept limited liability to the actual amount paid by the end user. When a licensee goes out and sells a trust and does not deliver it and does not respond to their phone calls, and they call an attorney and ask for a refund, we will give them their money back and charge you, the licensee, for malpractice. So anyway, the end user accepts all the terms. You've already accepted all these terms. Why not live them? Why not do them? Because that's what keeps you out of trouble, and that's what generates your income. So, when we talk about the code of ethics, and if you use the questions that we're talking about, what I'm telling you is this presentation is intended as a review and is not all inclusive of the end user agreements. You need to go in and read the end user agreement. It'd be really nice if you'd send me an email that says you've read it. I'm going to send everybody emails here soon and ask you to verify that you've read your end user agreements, because I don't like all these people getting challenged and them not knowing what the answer is when they haven't read the document. And the documents, the answer is I follow the end user agreement. And if you think I'm doing something wrong, write it down in the letter and put your name on the bottom of it and send it to me. They go away when you do that. Each licensee is required to read and agree to the presentation of this information to the end user. So I'm going to throw this out to questions. If any of you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I'm probably going to say go back and read the document, but are there any questions out there, Lisa?
Ed Taylor had a question in the chat.
Go ahead, Ed.
He said, does the licensee get an annual notice about the fee?
About the what?
About the fee.
About the fee. Are we talking about on the wholesale level?
The $29.95 fee.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? We've never charged it. They have not implemented it yet. They're going to, but then everybody will get a 30-day notice. But all the hundreds of trusts that we've done, nobody's ever been charged that fee. And to be honest with you, $30 to have it stored, that's cheap. Some of the other companies charge $150. So the fee is just there to allow, to keep it online, so that if you need to pull it up and make changes, if you have a relationship change, an asset change, or a health change, we know it's going to be there for you. That's how we stay immortal.
I just wanted to know if they ever just get a bill for it so that they will know to send it in. That's all.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If my clients get one and I've got $5 million invested with them, I'm probably going to treat them. I'm say, don't worry about it. I'll send the $29 in for them. But
Mhm.
the average person is not going to care to pay for it if they know what it is. It's not something for nothing. It's something for something. We store it online for you so it's always available. And after you get it witnessed and notarized, we'll store it online for you. That way, if you're ever out 1,000 miles from home and need a copy, you can go to me and I can pull it up and send it to you. In case you leave one of those spouses on the road dead for some reason, or in the hospital, or God forbid they have a stroke or something. Yeah, California wildfires. What else we got? Does that answer your question, Ed? Thank you. Anybody else have
Bob,
anything? Go ahead.
Barbara had a question.
Hi,
Is
Barbara.
the estate plan encompass a trust?
Say that again.
She wrote, is the estate plan encompass a trust? But I think she means, does the estate plan encompass a trust?
In most cases, yes. An estate plan can also include not having a trust or a will. That's still an estate plan. It's just a government plan. So if it's an estate plan, you're either going to have a will or a trust with a government plan called probate. So you don't have to have a trust to have an estate plan. If you don't have a will or a trust, you got an estate plan. It's written by the state you live in. You won't like it. I hope that answers your question, Barb. Anything else?
Nothing more in the chat.
Okay. Well, look, next week, I'm going to talk to you about workshops again. I have found a company that will help you finance your workshops. We're going to we worked today for about 2 hours on the math on the spreadsheets on the actual expenses of a workshop. We're going to present that to you next week. I will also tell you that there's a company called White Glove out there that we figured up the price of what they charge you to have an attendee at one of your workshops, and the price is $300. And we worked hard on it today with everybody putting in their 2 cents worth today and everybody factoring in what they knew. And we figured up on our workshops the way we do them, the cost of an attendee is about $64. So if you don't have the money for an estate plan, if you'll send me a request in, I'll send you the address where I can get your estate plan finance. The price is going up July 1 to $4,500. I have no control over that. But if you pay for it in June at $3,500, you can do it in July or August, and we can help you get the money to pay for it. I think we're getting our money back on our workshops in 3 weeks to 6 weeks. So you can take a loan out for 3 years and have maybe a $50 or $60 payment for your workshop, and you can pay it off in 45, 60 days. So if you want to do a workshop and don't have the money, I'll help you get that if you need me to. I'd really like to. Some of you don't need help, but those of you who do, don't limit your life because that $3,500 is a scary number. I think the contract I signed guarantees 100% financing. It just depends on what your credit rating is on what the interest rate is. But I'll help you get it if you want it. I want you to look forward to next week. If you want to do a workshop and if money's holding you back, I'll show you how to get the money to do it. I think our average workshops, I think the one we did in February, we generated about $35,000 or $40,000 in commissions. Plus, we got all of our money back for the workshop. Plus, we sold a mess of trusts. On the 3 workshops that we measured today, we sold 18 estate plans. So it's there. All I need to know from you is why are you here? What is it you want to accomplish? If you're just wanting to listen to the most interesting Zoom calls that you've ever heard in your life, well, thank you. But if you're here to make some money, just remember, I can only teach you what I know. I can only teach you what I do. And you don't have to follow it. I follow it. I like my advice. It works pretty good. And I like my system. It works pretty good. Does it make me the wealthiest person in the world? No. I'll never achieve that because I'm old and I get tired. I just want to teach younger people how to do what I've done in my career. And if you want to make $400,000 to $1 million, $400,000 to $1 million a year, I can show you how to do that. if you want to make $20 million a week, I'm not the right person. I'm not the right mentor. Once I get you to a point where I can't mentor you anymore, I'm going to introduce you to the people who mentor me. But the ones who mentor me don't want to work on the level I work on. They want people who have already achieved maybe the first 6-figure income and the first 7-figure income. I'll help you get there if you want to get there. Any other questions?
Charles just said in the chat, I have a call with you scheduled for tomorrow.
That's right, Charles, you do. We'll talk about your workshops. I'm looking forward to it. So Mike Adams, we did some good workshops up in Virginia a couple weeks ago. And I expect some pretty good results out of that. And we've got about 7 or 8 more workshops that it looks like they're going to be booked here in the next couple of weeks. The ones that are close by, I can go do. If you live 2,000 miles away or 10,000 miles away and want me to do one, I'll probably have to charge a travel fee unless I'm already going to be in your area. And it doesn't matter, all I'm looking to do is to help you get a consistent recurring income through your professional financial behavior. To do that, I want you to follow the code of ethics of my company because it works. Other than that, I got work to do. If you don't have any other questions, I'm going to turn it off. But I do want to say thank you to all you all who have attended, and let me help if I can. If you know something I need to know, tell me. What else we got, Lisa?
Liz said, are you available early tomorrow to talk about our workshop for July?
Liz, I need you to talk to Jay on that. I've got appointments starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow that get to about 1:30. If you need a morning appointment, Jay can take it, and he will be able to speak for me. And he knows what's going on. And I want you to come home and let's get one done. I hope that answers. I'm not free tomorrow morning. I do have my day fills up with bookings so quick that it's hard for me just to take one without planning for it. But I love you and you're my friend, and let's get your time in. Just talk to Jay tomorrow or schedule something later in the week for me. Anything else?
Liz, I've just put Jay's Calendly link in the chat for Liz to book an appointment with Jay.
Okay. And Jay will handle it. And Liz, if you want to talk to Greg, you can also put Greg's link in there. I know Jay's pretty busy, but they'll need to have a firm appointment. And wherever you are in the world, Liz, I hope you're having fun. Any more?
Nothing more in the chat, but I put Greg's link in as well for Liz.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. And iPhone, whoever you are, I'm glad you're attending. You never will tell me who you are, but iPhone, welcome.
It's Kendall. It's Kendall. Thank you for
Yeah.
Okay.
I found out it's Kendall, but there was another iPhone that didn't answer.
Okay. And I'm just kidding you, but I'm glad you're here. Anything else?
Nothing more.
Okay. Well, my time's up, and I'll talk to you next week, and I hope you guys will join me next week. I'm going to talk to you about workshops, financing workshops, and what to expect if you do one. Thanks. Bye.